On mountains of Mecca bear witness that to the oneness of Allah do I testify. For all that He's given me, how can I deny? My purpose in life should be only to cry. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is His messenger. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is His messenger. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad Rasulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad Nabi Allah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad Rasulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad Rasul of Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the program Muslims in America. The religion of Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and a majority of that growth is taking place right here in the United States of America. According to most reliable estimates, there are more than 7 million Muslims living in the United States of America. Muslims have become valuable and vital assets to the American society. So please join me as I travel around the USA and introduce you, my viewers, to a few of the many Muslims in America. And I'm here in the Islamic Community Center of Anchorage, Alaska, with my brother in Islam, Paul Rockwood, who's otherwise known as Bilal by the brothers of the community. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
And thank you for agreeing to spend some time with us, and it's really nice to meet you and all the brothers here in Anchorage, Alaska. But Brother Bilal, tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to Islam, and then, you know, how you came to live here in Alaska.
Okay, in 2001, I started researching Islam on the internet, and
But
I
it's
wanted
important,
to know.
I mean, this 2001 is, I mean, it's an important time. I mean, this was after 9/11. A lot of
Yes.
things are going
Yes.
on in the world. So,
Yes.
did you find that a difficult time to be studying Islam, or did you find that it didn't matter at all?
Well, prior to that, I was researching religion in general. I felt I needed some spirituality, and after 9/11, Islam really wasn't on the menu, so to speak, as far as religions. But
What does that mean, on the menu?
Well, I mean, in the West, religions of choice are usually Christianity, Judaism, and maybe some Buddhism and Hinduism. And Islam is kind of like looked more at like you have to be from the Middle East or from Indonesia or someplace like this. But after 9/11, with all the propaganda, I decided that I wanted to do some research about it, find out why this happened. And I got online and started reading about Islam, the beliefs of Islam, not the politics. And once I got to the beliefs, I realized that it's not what people think it is. And I discovered Tawheed, which is monotheism.
So how long do you estimate that you had to study Islam before you decided that you wanted to become Muslim?
In all honesty, it took me about 30 minutes before I actually knew that it was the truth. And so once I accepted that, I got up one day on my lunch break from work. I went to the masjid, and I talked with the imam for about 30, 40 minutes, and I told him I want to take my shahada. So I took my shahada. The brothers in the Northern Virginia area helped me with learning my Islam, and then about 4 or 5 years later, I moved up here to Alaska.
What was the reaction from your family? I mean, your immediate reaction when you came home and told them that you were a Muslim?
Okay, well, I was married for a number of years before I had accepted Islam, and I went home to my wife and told her, guess what? I'm a Muslim. And she said, thank God, you know, you're something.
Well, before she said that, did you have any expectation of what her answer would be? Or what her
Kind
response
of,
would
yeah.
be?
I mean, she knew that I had been reading about it. She knows I'm one of those people that I don't just, I like to find answers for myself. I don't just accept, you know, what the media says about this or that, you know, that I like to do the research. And so she knew that I was studying it, and she was not surprised, because every day I would learn something. I would come home and tell her, you know, did you know this? Did you know that Muslims believe this? And, you know, did you know Muslims believe in Jesus and things like this? And since we were both Catholic, you know, that was very important.
Did she know? I mean, before you were telling her this
actually,
thing,
she knew better than me because she worked in a dental office with some Muslims there. So she had some experience with Muslims, but I did not.
Now, after you became Muslim, I mean, how long was it after that that your wife became Muslim?
About a year later. She had been, you know, after I became Muslim, it was important for her to understand Islam and understand the transition that I was going through. And she was reading books about Islam, and finally she read about basically the scientific miracles in the Quran. And for her, that was very convincing.
But I mean, in the atmosphere in your house, there was no pressure on her to accept Islam. This is just something she'd done by her own accord.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and so, I mean, beyond that, what has been the reaction or the dawah efforts with your own family in terms of accepting Islam?
Alhamdulillah, it's been really well. A lot of my family have accepted Islam. My mother accepted Islam, my youngest brother, and also my mother-in-law has now accepted Islam. And the rest of my family, for the most part, they accept the fact that I'm Muslim, and they have no disdain for it at all, and they're very supportive. But there's, you know, probably some members of my family who are, they say, you know, it's good for you, but don't bring it here, don't talk to us about it. You know,
but from your family members who accepted Islam, was that initially their attitude before they accepted Islam, or were they always kind of receptive to it?
My youngest brother was always very receptive. So he's a little bit different than the others. The others needed to really learn what it was about and everything before they would accept, yes.
Now, where you're living in Alaska now, but where are you originally from in the States?
I'm originally from a suburb of Boston, Boston, Massachusetts, yeah.
And how did you come to wind up to, and actually we're in Anchorage, Alaska, but you're from a different place.
I'm from a different place. I'm from King Salmon, Alaska. I've just completed my first year there. It's a little tiny fishing village that's in the Bristol Bay area. Yeah, I'm the only we're the only Muslim family there.
Right, but do you get an opportunity to talk to people there about Islam?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I talk with several of my co-workers. There's a lot of missionaries, actually Christian missionaries. I have a lot of dialogue with them. And there's been a couple people who are very receptive. And even though no one has really, you know, accepted Islam as their faith, they are very changed in their attitude towards Islam now.
Just tell me a bit about when you meet people. What are some of the most common questions they ask you about Islam?
Actually, surprisingly, it's mostly about women's issues. You know, because of the propaganda on TV, they have some misconceptions about how women are treated in Islam, and they're very surprised to see how Islam protects women and actually puts them on a pedestal and raises their status.
So I guess also there are a lot of women who approach your wife also to ask these questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
She gets a lot of questions.
Okay. And as far as the dawah, I mean, maybe not in your area,